Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Rebel Mind, where we talk about everything mindset related. Because when you change your perspective, you change your life. So, if you're new here, I'm Lauren. I am a copywriter and a copywriting coach, entrepreneur, and mindset aficionado. Ooh, is that a word for this? Oh, I like that. Okay, so mindset aficionado. Also, if you haven't noticed, like this is kind of a baby channel, so we're still working out the bugs. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about measuring your success. And if you're a real goal-getting person, it's sometimes really hard to measure your success because you're measuring it against where you want to go. When you have really big goals and aspirations, really big dreams, and big things you want to do in this world, even if they're not even that big, sometimes that's just the way we are. When we're measuring against where we want to go and we're not quite getting there yet, sometimes that can make us feel failure. We can get overwhelmed, like we're looking at this giant mountain. And if you're a entrepreneur with ADHD, sometimes this can be like super intense. Overwhelm is a real struggle for us anyways. So it's sometimes really difficult when we're looking up at that mountain and feel like we have so far to go, and it almost makes us want to give up on our dreams. And what I am about to say today, I think will really help you in measuring your success. The first thing is measure backwards. Think about the you from 3 years ago when you first started your journey or whatever. How would that person feel about where you are today? Because if you think about it, you are living in probably many ways how your past self was dreaming to be living, right? So think about myself, for example. My PTA license recently expired, and it got me reflecting on where I was when I renewed my license. When I first renewed my license, I was still working in healthcare and building my business. I decided to renew my license instead of just like quitting and going cold turkey. I quit very shortly after I renewed my license, but um, I wanted that safety net just in case I needed it to either work part-time again if I needed to, or like whatever. Like I wanted that safety net there, that I could just go back to healthcare even though it was absolute hell. Like my whole dream was just to be able, like my first goal was just to be able to leave healthcare, and I did that. I wanted to be able to homeschool my son, and I did that. Changed my mind about that, and that might be changing again. We don't know. Anyways, I wanted to be able to make the same amount of money in my business that I was making in healthcare. Did that. And so, just at like 3 years ago, when I renewed my license, where I was in my business versus where I am now, like I've accomplished so much. My like long-term dream was to be able to travel the world, to work with impactful brands that are actually doing good in the world, to be able to use writing to create change in the world. And I'm literally living so much of that. And so when, I think about my goals and I'm like, I want to write a book and I want to do all of these things. I want to be on these podcasts. I want to, be a thought leader in change in marketing and communications. And then it gets like really daunting because it's just like, doing all of the things and trying to manage all of the things and feeling like I'm falling short all the time because I'm like not writing consistently enough. I'm not posting consistently enough. I'm not building my audience consistently enough. And like all of these like not enough things. And you can get really bogged down in thinking about all of the things that you want to do and all of the goals that you're aiming for and all of the ways to get to those goals, instead of just stopping and reflecting on where you came from, measuring back to where it's just like, I have an audience now. Nobody knew who I was 3 years ago. I was working with very small brands for the most part and stuff. And, it's just like things have gone up so much since then. And when we're measuring our success, we have to measure backwards. don't measure forwards. So that's tip one. Measure backwards, don't measure forwards. Tip two is redefine what success means to you. So for me, part of my success was not monetary. Does like monetary success, having the money, obviously money is really important, and it is the foundation for a lot of our goals and what we want to do. And so that is a component, but it shouldn't be all of your success, right? You, when you're looking at the success that you want to have in your life, you have to look at like how you feel. Like your emotions about what you do, your work is 1/3 of your life. Unless you're a workaholic, and then it's probably more, you know? So when your work, when your career and your business um play such a heavy role in your overall life, happiness, fulfillment, and joy in your work should be a massive goal. It should be something that you're really striving for, to have that fulfillment and happiness and joy within the work that you do. And so that is a beautiful goal to have and a beautiful way to determine success. I think that it should have as much standing in your idea of success as the money. But then also, um, your purpose. Are you living your purpose? Are you following through on one thing in your life that you really want to make an impact? Whether that's in your personal life, if you want to create an impact that sets your family up for success and builds generational wealth, like that's a great purpose. Your purpose is to set up this beautiful system for your children, or for, the people within your family, the people within your life. And that's a great purpose, to be able to support maybe your parents who, did so much for you growing up, that you want to support them. That's a great purpose. You don't have to want to change the world to have a purpose. And, but whenever you're building your business, or especially if you're a freelance copywriter, entrepreneur, trying to like just make it, it can sometimes feel like, how am I figuring out this purpose, when I'm literally just trying to go from gig to gig and make ends meet. But um, one of my things with my purpose is that I want to help to build inclusive language within our marketing systems, because your marketing system holds a lot of weight on where our society is. If you just think about diet culture as an example, and I know I use this as an example all the time, but it's something that is very relatable and understandable for a lot of people. Diet culture built this perspective, or perpetuated the perspective that was already there, from the patriarchy, that thin is beautiful, thin is what you should be. You should aspire to it at all costs. And it doesn't matter if you're miserable. It doesn't matter if you're punishing yourself with food or exercise. This is success. This is what it means to be a desirable woman. And the desire, for people to desire you means more than your happiness and things like your health, even, you know. So, because marketing perpetuated so much of this diet culture and leaned so into this patriarchal idea of what it is to particularly be a woman, so this affected people socialized as female probably a lot more than it did men. Not that it didn't affect men, but um, that idea created a lot of harm in our society that a lot of people have spent generations getting over. So for me, my purpose is to build a more ethical system that is built on more inclusive, ethical, um, generous, and empathetic communications throughout marketing systems, right? So that's my purpose, or at least my purpose in relation to my business. But, you know, I have plenty of other purposes in this lifetime. But whenever your measure of success is based off of the monetary gains that you make, but also the impact that you're having in relation to how you define your purpose, and the fulfillment and the emotions that you feel within your work systems and or work life, that's the true measure of success. If you don't have all of these components, then like then you have just like, okay, you have a lot of money, but if you feel like crap all of the time, then what does that money really mean? You know? So those are my big things for when you're measuring your success. You measure your success based on where you've been and how far you've already come, not how far you have to go still. That will help to ground you in where you're at and give you maybe that inspired momentum to keep going whenever it looks like you're climbing up this big ass hill. And then whenever you're measuring your success, don't just measure the money, because particularly if you're in freelance, but I'm sure that it's, pretty universal for entrepreneurship, that money ebbs and flows. Particularly in freelance, it's a roller coaster. Sometimes you can make nothing, sometimes you can make insane amounts of money, particularly in the beginning. And so the money shouldn't be your only weight to show how successful your business is. Your business is successful if you're living your purpose. Your business is successful if you're fulfilled. So that's how I want you to start measuring your success from now on, because all of these aspects in how your mindset is in relation to how you see yourself as successful matters in the impact and the shifts that you can create within your life and your business. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Share this with a fellow rebel and like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things, and let's start a revolution. But also, go check out my podcast, because I forgot to mention that I have a podcast now with my dear client and friend, Lex Smith. It's called The Spiritual University, and you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, and everywhere else. So check that out, because that's a lot of fun. But yes, let's start a revolution, and thank you for watching.